Hello, my name is Dr. Scott Young, and today we're going to talk about how to filter everything you think about through the cross. Coming right up. Okay. This is a powerful kind of point that we need to consider ourselves. You see, most people don't want to take all of Scripture and put it together. They want to pull one piece of Scripture and just apply it to the world. And that is a super danger. 2 Timothy 3:16 says, all Scriptures God breathes, approved for teaching, reproof, education. It builds up the people. What that's basically saying is that if you need to take it all in. Now in Revelation 22, it says if you pull away anything from that's in this thing, I'm going to take away from you your place in the book of life. If you add anything, I'm going to add to you the plagues that are written within this. Ooh, that's a pretty big thing. So when you're trying to interpret issues, that's the first level that you have to do. Do other areas in Scripture actually contradict what you're trying to say upon that message? And so I'm very careful as a teacher to put that together and kind of separate that. Now, here's the reality of the Word. Now, there's a friend of mine who's passed away. He was a powerful man of God. Will Waldron was a man that kind of showed up in my office around 2010. In 2009, we were 90% debt to income ratio. I mean, we were way past the red line for bankruptcy, and he would spend every Saturday with me from like 8 to 5 at night. And I mean, we would just sit in my office and I was like, yeah, but what about? Yeah, but what about? Now, I've been a Bible study leader. I've read through the Bible 5 or 6 times at that point. And yet, but I'm like, what about, why this? And asking all these questions. And he had a maxim that I want to share with you. He said, you need to consider the cross as you needed to filter everything through the cross. Now let's explain that just a second. When you put the cross of Christ is the powerful point that explains everything. Paul said, if Jesus doesn't rise from the dead, we should be pitied among all men. I'm going to give you an example of something my dad said to me back in college. We were sitting in the hot tub. They had this cool hot tub in Colorado, and it was outside. We had no cover with it, so it would be snowing, and it's really kind of cool to be in a hot tub when it's like 20, 30 degrees. And we would put the hot tub not at 105 where you're burning up. You put it about 98 kind of thing, no, 101, something like that. And it would be just warm enough you could stand there for 30, 40 minutes, right? And we would have long conversations because there's really not anything else to do. And my dad was like, I can believe all that stuff about Jesus except for him rising from the dead. And I'm like, Dad, it doesn't matter. You might as well just throw it all out. No, yes. No, Dad. If he doesn't rise from the dead, it's meaningless. It took him years to understand that one point. The reality is the cross of Christ is the death of Christ and the resurrection therein. And we're going to talk about these in future episodes in our YouTube channel here. But the cross of Christ is so important that when you filter it. Now, I want you to think about the old filtering systems. Like if you have water, if you have like those water filters, I mean, you take water from the tap, you pour it through the filter, and you're getting all the crud out of it, right? And then you throw away the filter or whatever, clean out the filter, and then you're ready to put more water through it, okay? We used to do that with flour. You take it out of the flour, you put the filter, and pour it in there, and you'd have gross crud on the top of it. You go clean that out, and what was below it was filtered through, okay? And I want you to realize that's what you need to do with the cross of Christ. Everything in the Word, if you filter it through the cross, it will make a lot of difference. If you're talking about end time issues, filter it through the cross. Because when we say it's just about wrath, it's not just about wrath. It's about Jesus wanting to save people. Ephesians 2:6, where he's coming to turn people back to him. Today is the day of salvation. That's what it's about. The Old Testament was all pointing to Jesus coming in. The New Testament's pointing backward into Jesus coming in. Man, it's all about that. And that is a real key effort. If you will just keep that at the top of your mind, and as you're reading the Bible, I want you just to do that one little thing. How does this relate to the cross of Christ? And once I do that, how do I look at that scripture, God? And what you're going to be is you're going to be inside of the heart of God. Because the heart of God is all about the cross. You see, there's 6 times in the New Testament it says, before the foundation of the earth. Now in Revelation 13:8, and the King James Version, it says, before the foundation of the earth, the Lamb was slain. Boy, we're talking about, that verse actually is talking about the white throne judgment. This is after the millennial reign of Christ, the tribulation, all these bad things. He's like saying, hey, listen, before anything ever happened, Jesus died. Now that's a longer conversation that we can get into that is in one of my books on free will and predestination kind of thing that we get into. But you have to see and filter everything through the cross. And when you do that, you will have a new revelation that you've never possibly had. So thank you so much for listening to this. If you have questions about it, happy to answer. Just put those comments down below. Questions, I always kind of pop in there and I will get your questions the best that I can. Sometimes people get mad at me to not be able to understand everything you're saying about that. I don't know everything, I'm sorry, but I will do everything I can to answer those questions. So subscribe, share this with your friends. So thanks so much.